Hello everybody, it's February 1st, 2017, and I'll show you some of the things that I've sold from yesterday, and I sold one thing this morning as well. First off, I have this dryer timer assembly switch control, and these are pretty easy to get, pretty easy for the average person to replace if it goes bad on their machine. So you'll see a lot of homeowners buying these, and you'll also see people who like laundromats buying from you if you sell these types of things, and also property maintenance people, like people who look after apartment buildings, those types of customers. So this is then sold for $40. It's going to Quebec, and yeah, these are easy thing for you to get, easy thing to resell, and they're easy to test too. So that's the main thing, to make sure it works. Next, this is a high temperature cutoff limit switch thermostat. It's from a furnace. These things are very small, very easy to ship, and I sold this one for $17. It's going to Ontario. I'm not not posting too many of these anymore. Mainly, I'm just trying to go after higher priced items, but I did have like a blitz where I posted a whole bunch of these. They didn't sell right away, but slowly they are selling one by one. So I'm not really collecting these and selling them anymore. Maybe I will start again. Who knows? But I find I don't like them because, frankly, sometimes the writing is so small that you have a really hard time seeing it. And I don't know, it's just not one of those things I'm just not too interested in right now. But anyways, that one sold, so a little quick $17. This is a magnifying glass. This is from one of those, like the lights with those big fancy glow lights. You can look at what you're doing, and has it's kind of like this guy right here, but with a big magnifying glass. You know what I mean? So I have a whole bunch of these. This is a listing that I have. I think it's a quantity of like 14 or 15. And I've had it up for a long time, and I finally sold one. $10. Yeah, it's not very much. Got these at an auction that I went to. Must have been like 3 years ago that I went to this auction, and I just cleaned up at this place. I think I mentioned this same auction before in my other videos. Yeah, that's one thing that sold. So I'll keep that listing up, see how it goes, and maybe I'll sell more. But the shipping was quite a bit, so I sold it for $10, and it was $21 shipping. So because it's a heavier item, but this one's going to Florida. Miami, Florida. So, yeah, that's interesting. Now, another item that I sold, it came from that same auction. Or, no, that's not it. Hang on. Here we go. I also sold this thing. This is a pretty specialty item. It's, what should I call it? It's a signal flasher relay switch. See, it's Bosch, made in Germany. These are signal flashers for a Volkswagen bus, or some other European brands, like I think it's Perot, or I forget the other names. But so it's definitely a European car manufacturer that uses these. I know for sure it's Volkswagen bus and some other ones that use these. So very specialty item. It came from that same auction that I got that from. Sold this one for $35. It's going to France. They paid $40 track pack to go to France. All right, moving on. This here, bit of a story behind this guy. This is from a blender, a KitchenAid blender. And the blender that it came from worked perfect. The only problem that was wrong with the blender was that it didn't have the cup, didn't have the glass. I just had the motor base, which worked perfect. And the motor base was like cast aluminum, so it had some scrap value in the motor. I was thinking about reselling the whole thing together, but it was just so big and heavy that the shipping would be so much. So I scrapped it, and I just saved this piece from it. I sold this for $20. And the reason I have a story behind it is because a person bought it in Florida. It went all the way to Miami, Florida, and it was marked return to sender. They couldn't find the address. It came all the way back to me. I messaged him. He said, oh, okay, send it back to me at this address. And I said, well, you gotta send me more money for more shipping, unfortunately. I felt bad for him, so I reposted it, and he bought it again, and he paid. So I only refunded him the purchase price of it for $20, but I didn't refund him the shipping. And he bought it again, and he didn't pay for it right away, and so he finally paid for it yesterday. So he paid again the same shipping price. So I'm going to send it back to him at a different address. So going back and forth all the way to Florida, back here, and back to Florida again. And it's one of those, shipping it to one of those places that you see often in cities like Miami and LA and like major port type cities, that you see a lot of these companies, and they're like international shipping companies, so they get it and then they ship it international. I don't quite understand. I'm sure experienced eBay sellers will know what I'm talking about. I'm not too sure what those places are, but it's funny. So this thing has a long journey ahead, I imagine. So yeah, that's all. Oh, last thing here is a Light Bright game system, vintage toy from early 2000s. I sold this one. I forget where it's going from. Oh, I don't have the sheet with me. I sold it for $60. I don't think it's going too far. But yeah, this was, I think, a thrift store find, or maybe even a garage sale. I can't quite remember. I only may have paid a couple dollars tops. So what you want to do? So this thing, it was opened, but the contents has never been used. So I checked, I took it all out, I checked, made sure all the pieces are still there, it's all there. So if you're going to sell something like this, a lot of people will list it as new. Now, new means unopened package, so you want to avoid that. There's another column that you can say new, and then in brackets says other. So that's what I chose, and then you can leave a description why it's new other. So I wrote that it's new, never used, package has been opened. And in my description, I said that I confirmed all the pieces are in there. So that's something that you do just to cover your butt. Because if you say it's new, unopened, and they get it, and it's like, well, it's been opened before. Someone retaped it. So you just want to limit the customer's surprises. So you don't want them to say, oh, I thought it was brand new. Now I'm worried that the pieces are missing, and So you just want to disclose all your information as much as possible, and then you won't get any bad feedback. So that's what I've done with that one. So yeah, $60. Those are a good sale. I was surprised. I've had this thing sitting on a shelf for a long time, and I finally decided to take it off the shelf and see if it's worth anything. I was like, wow, they sell quite well on eBay. So I was happy to get that. It hasn't been up for very long either. So that's going, and that's all I sold from yesterday. It's a Tuesday, so you never really expect too many big sales on a Tuesdays or during the week. Anyways, stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. All right, it's Thursday, February 2nd. Got the truck warmed up because I'm going to do another HVAC scrap pickup. And trucks, pulleys, they don't sound very good. Had a little bit of a hard time starting this morning. It was pretty cold last night. Having a problem with my internet too. This is my back porch, and so I got my big long extension ladder going up to this pole, my tower, way up there, that's my internet receiver. Because I'm so rural, this is the only way I can get internet out here. And there's only one company that will do it. And it's been nothing but trouble. I'm really stuck with internet. People in the city, you guys have it really good. Because once you get out of the city, your only choice is to try and have a line of sight with one of their towers. And right now it's not working right now. It hasn't been working for at least 2 days. So they're sending out a technician to fix it. And it's really bad. I actually have to make my phone a hotspot just to do my labels for my shipping, my eBay shipping. So but life goes on. We gotta keep going, and I'm just gonna go do a little scrap run and come back home and do some packages. Okay, everybody, I'm just back home, and I just picked up from my HVAC company. Not too much. This is it. Just this massive hot water tank. It's just giant. I had to go inside and ask someone to come out and help me lift it up onto the tailgate. I couldn't get it up by myself. It's got a couple pieces of copper on the end. It's just giant. And yeah, it's a couple little bits of copper down here. Nothing special. I see like a brass valve over there. And there's a little transformer there. And this is aluminum. Not too fancy. I'm gonna try and stand this up. It's really heavy though. Alright, just scrapping the copper and the brass off of this big hot water tank. It's massive. I can't even stand it up straight. So now I see I'm just trying to take off this is pretty big copper. You can see this is like 2-inch or so copper. So I'm just trying to take that off. But you know, the problem with hot water tanks is they just spin, especially if you don't have it standing up straight. It'll just spin. So I just taken this pipe here and I shoved it into the hole for where the valve is, and then when it starts to spin, that just hits the back of my truck. So it's coming off that way. It's starting to go there. It's tough though. See, there it goes. And then you just have it resting like that. Yeah, it's hard to do this with camera. Yeah. Alright, so that's the way I'm going to do it for both sides. Okay, I'm all done. And I just finished scrapping out this hot water tank. You see I took off the gas valve and there was a little bleeder valve there. And I took off all these pieces here, the big copper in and out, water in and out lines. And it's just massive. I tried to lift this thing up. I just could not do it without, risking my health and safety. So I'm just going to let it lie flat. And if I get called out tomorrow to another job, I'll have to drop this off at the scrap yard before I go. It's just a bunch of scrap. This is all just shred steel, little bits and pieces. And I got, this is aluminum ductwork. I took all the screws out, so it's all nice and clean. So bits from the hot water tank. A piece of gas line, stainless steel gas line with a jacket on it, so it's dirty stain. You can take that off with a knife. It's, I probably won't. Maybe I will. We'll see how I feel. What do we got here? Got those attached to a big long piece of pipe. So we're going to have to put those in a vice grip to get the brass valves off. And I do that all the time. It's not that hard. These are some other random bits of brass that came in the bottom of one of their garbage pails that they gave me. So it's a good sized piece of brass. And yeah, it's not bad. These are from the hot water tank. and that was just on the bottom of the garbage can that they gave me. Again, I'll take a look at that product number and see if it's worth anything. This is the gas valve from the hot water tank, dirty aluminum as is, and yeah, that piece, it's brass probably, but it looks like it's, you know, maybe if you unscrew this part, there's a brass piece underneath it. But and then underneath this plastic jacket, that's all. If you scratch it, it's copper. You know, underneath here. So you can dismantle that if you want, or just take it in, and they'll give you dirty aluminum price. Couple other small pieces. That's from the hot water tank. Not bad. Pretty big. That's a relay switch. That would be copper bearing. And another piece of copper from their garbage cans. Hello everyone. I'm going to show you what I sold yesterday. And I'm just down here in my basement about to package up this stuff. Yeah, in my eBay, I say that I have 2 days to ship out this stuff, like 2 days handling. But really, I do like 24-hour turnaround, because if I let this stuff pile up, I'll be over my head with shipping stuff. So I like to get it out like the day after, day after the customer buys it. So I'll start off with these two guys. These are a couple really interesting pieces. This guy is a 1956 Hickok signal generator. Yeah, it comes with the instruction manual. Neat stuff. This, I'll tell you a quick story where I got this stuff from. It's from an auction that I went to probably 2 years ago. And this auction was just, one of a kind. It was a business owner. He was a gentleman that was in the business of repairing electronic equipment back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So he was a electronic repair shop, that would go to your house and fix your tube radio. So he had so much stuff. Anyways, he had passed away a while ago. And I guess this garage, it was just like a time capsule. It was just like his whole business was in there, and it hadn't been touched for years and years and years. And finally, he had passed away, and his children were, they had to clear out the garage, and so they held an auction. And so this is some of the stuff that came out of it. I could go on forever about this place. It was just like a candy store for me. That was a couple years ago, though. I wish I had more knowledge back then than I do now, but there's a couple of things that I got from it. So I sold this guy for $90. It's going to Alberta. It's heavy. It's big and heavy. Requires a big box, a lot of packaging. And they paid $48 Canadian for the shipping, on top of the $90 for the item. So I listed this as, can't quite remember. Either I listed it as used or for parts or repair, not working. So I did that because I definitely put it down as used, just to cover my butt. And I said in the description of its condition, unable to test, unknown working condition. So it's basically what you see is what you get. I don't know if it's working or not. I didn't plug it in. See, here's the cord here. It's still in the way that the guy put it, still in that same condition. So definitely you want to say all this sort of stuff to cover your butt. See, here's the inspection tag that he wrote, whenever it was. It may have been from, I can't quite see a date on it. Probably from, I would just say 70s or so. But anyways, really interesting stuff. This next piece is a CRT tube tester. So CRT is the cathode ray tube, which is those big old TVs that is just plaguing our planet right now. Anyways, this is the see these are all the different adapters that you can plug into different CRT tubes. So a technician would come to your house with a machine like this, and you would plug it in, or you would bring your TV set to this guy's workshop, and he would use something like this to plug in the tube and see how it's working. So he would, same thing as this, as I said, unknown working condition, unable to test. So that's what I put in the description. Comes with the instruction manual. This one's pretty neat. Didn't sell it for as much. There's lots of when I do a lot of research on eBay and I see what similar things are selling as. So this one only sold for $40. I think that's when it's going to Ontario, I believe. So it's a really nice case too. I really think it's neat. Really nice, like a leather case. Has all the little knobs for, stuff was just so well built back then. So, those are a couple things. I'm going to pass them along to a collector. Hopefully they're happy with them. This is something else I sold. Pretty basic, $17. Little Microsoft keyboard, USB. In the description I say, I tested, obviously, they work fine. All my keyboards I sell work fine. And but the only thing is I say, I clean them out with a compressed air. But I always say that the keyboard may require additional cleaning if desired. So, there might still be some dust in there from previous use. So I just make sure I say that in the description. Next, this gas valve from a furnace. I sold that one for $60, I believe. Yep, $60. It's going to British Columbia. Next is this. Try and guess what that is. That is a dust cover for a VCR, a vintage VCR. This was from, again, a different auction. It was different than that one, but I bought this old Quasar VCR at an auction, and I thought I just hit the jackpot because I love selling old VCRs. And it was still in the box. It was really mint condition. Anyways, I brought it home, plugged it in. It had a problem. It had like a bad motor or something. And I took the whole thing apart. I tried to figure out what was wrong with it. I couldn't. I concluded that it was probably a return VCR that was bought and then returned to the store. And then they just kind of put it on a shelf. So it was like a manufactured flaw that was wrong with the VCR. Anyways, I ended up scrapping it, fortunately. But I kept this cover. It's never been used. It's really good condition. And I sold it for $25. It's going to Illinois. And that's for, I believe it was 1982 was that VCR. So that's a really nice dust cover, never been used. I think I still have the remote control for that on eBay right now. It's a wired remote control, so you have to plug the remote control in. It has a big long cord you can sit on your couch. So, yeah, that was it. That's all I sold. But interesting stuff, that's what I like about my job, my little store, is that you just come across all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, everyone, I'm all done my shipping. This is my last package. That's the Hickok signal generator that I packed. It probably took me anywhere between half an hour to an hour to pack. I put a little note up there on the top. Maybe that will help with the delivery. Maybe the post people will see that and might be more kind to my package. I'm not sure if it actually works or not, but the customers like to see you put stuff like that on their packages. So anyways, that was quite a bit of work. A lot of stuffing in there. The newspaper is just covering up the shipping label for the camera. While I was packing, something sold on eBay. It's this waterbed heater pad. I find this really neat because if anyone saw any of my other videos out there, this is one of my finds on garbage night. less than a week ago. This sold for, focus, $54.95, and it's they paid $15 shipping. It's going to Ontario. See the date there, February 2nd, and yep, so that's sold right away. Less than a week, and it's actually from my video that was posted, this one here, and I posted that video on January 28th. Now I found the item on January 27th, which was a Thursday, and it's Thursday right now. So that was a week. So during that time I tested it, made sure it worked, and then I made a listing, and then I photographed it, then I listed it online, and it only took a few days for it to sell. So I sold it, and it's kind of neat to see that it was documented on YouTube, and then it's already been flipped for an easy $55. So I thought that was really neat. Okay, I'm going to, actually my wife's going to go to the post office for me, so I'll just hang tight here in the basement or do something else around the house. It's snowing quite a bit outside, so I might go outside and shovel. Another joyful thing to do in the wintertime. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll stay tuned for more. Look at that. It's already snowed on my copper.